All right, Chidimma, congratulations. The story started, it was very funny. It was dark. We were not sure. I didn't believe the way it turned out. Boom, but we're here. You made history. Now, this is history sitting down. How do you feel?
I feel excited
Yeah.
and I'm so proud of myself.
Now, I like the fact that you make it sound so simple, but I know it's been a very challenging situation. It started and we are here. I know you've talked about this a lot of times, and so far it's been a very, very, very painful situation. But Chidima, how have you been able to live through this?
It really was tough for me. I think a lot of the times I never really expressed how I truly felt because, you don't really want to put a lot out there because people are always watching you. So I think I really handled it well, but I think now it's also the time for me to use this opportunity to also speak out and also just to reflect on this whole journey, but also not to forget how I got to this point. It wasn't easy, but I think if it wasn't for my family and the support that I've been getting from people outside as well, and for God as well, because He gave me the strength to overcome every single obstacle.
Now, when it started, this whole story, when all this started in South Africa, right? Did you by any chance see it getting this far?
Not at all. I actually took it like it was banter because, sometimes they can be a little bit sarcastic, but it actually started getting serious when I made top 16. So
Good. And now from that point until the whole Nigeria thing, there was still a lot of challenges coming to Nigeria. What was in your mind?
I was just like really disappointed because I felt like regardless of what I do, I still don't do anything that was great. But I still had that goal, which was to walk the Miss Universe stage. So I was not ready to let anybody dictate my life.
Fantastic. Now, that journey, who were you talking to? Who was your go-to? Who was your support system? Who could you pour out on? Because you're a young lady, and this was so much. It was emotional. Who were you talking to? Who was that support system?
There were so many people that were like my real support system. Most of them that, did not want to be in the front line and anything like that. But there was a lot of people that I would go back to and actually seek for a lot of advice, and they were really helpful. Those are the same people that really carried me through this whole journey.
Now, looking at the fact that you're a young lady, you were in a racial war, it was really intense. And these were two powerful black women. Did that in any way make you feel pressure? Did it make you feel, why should I be the one sparking this kind of trauma in two really big countries that are supposed to be family? Did you see yourself at one point and begin to blame yourself or lose your identity?
I felt like I was blaming myself at some point. I felt like, I even made the whole fight between South Africa and Nigeria become worse. But I feel like it really wasn't even a me thing because this hatred amongst the two countries has always been there. And I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I went through. Unfortunately, I had to be the chosen one, and maybe there's a specific reason for it, but I don't think it's fair. And I think that we need to create an environment where we all feel loved and accepted, regardless of who we are, where we come from. We have a long way to go.
Now, at some point, you read stuff online, right? It's impossible for you to shield yourself. What can you recall the most embarrassing or devastating that really broke you and you sank and asked for that? Why am I the one who is unfortunately a victim of all what's happening? Was there any point you saw something that you feel
I think it is all of them because, this is a place that I lived for 23 years of my life. So for me to see the level of hate and how people are just like so eager to, push someone to the edge of like, rejecting them to a point where they, it starts affecting them mentally. It's really sad to see that they would literally do anything in their power to actually bring someone down because before the whole identity thing came about, honestly, it was more because my name was Chidimma and because I'm Nigerian. So I think people tend to forget that that's how it actually really started. So
did you hear while you were in camp in Mexico, there were all kinds of funny stories out there. I mean, one of the ones that really got to me was when Maya Lulu had to pull out, and the way they framed the story was shocking. People said bizarre stuff. I'm sure you might have an idea of some of them, and you won't believe it. People even said she's threatened by Chidimma, and that's why she pulled out Nigeria. When you hear stories like this, how do you respond to this?
it's really disappointing because people really try to bring conflict amongst us. And it's really difficult for the both of us because we both don't want to disappoint our countries, but also we try to find ways to unite together, but because we didn't have this conflict amongst one another. And yes, Mia was sick. She was actually really not feeling well for the past 3 to 4 days. Not only her, most of the contestants actually started falling ill. But we all had the duty and responsibility to show up. So we had to. So I really respect what she did. It wasn't easy, and I would obviously advise anybody to choose their health over anything. We're all different. We don't all operate the same way. So
Did you have any interactions with Maya? How was it?
we had many, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people always wanted us to showcase it on social media, and I don't think that it was necessary for us to do so because that means we're doing things for the media. We're not
Okay.
doing it genuinely, but we would always talk. We were always together. So
Yeah. Did she ever talk about the crisis? Did you guys ever sit down and say, our two countries are going through this? How do we feel about how are we instruments to change for this?
we never really spoke about it. I
Okay.
think we were just more filled with so much joy and love. We never even felt like the two countries were at conflict. It was so peaceful. We're always motivating each other. And it has always been like that, even in South Africa. So
Now talk to me about experience in Mexico. Did you at any other point, did you at a point also feel that, you wish that some things were better? Do you think bonding with the other delegates was good? Did anybody act funny? How was your experience in Mexico?
my experience was amazing. I don't think I would have changed anything that
Okay.
happened because I feel like every single moment was a learning curve.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did fall sick as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, most people don't know that.
yes, I felt sick, but I had to also be strong because I've been wanting this moment and I didn't come this far to get this far just to give up. So
Yeah. Now talk to me about, you and I were talking the other day. You said, Anthony, I did my makeup from the last day. I couldn't believe that.
oh yes.
Tell me about that. How on earth did you pull that off? So nobody actually, I'm saying this officially now. What we saw on stage, you were responsible for that. So you might talk to us about
I did my hair and makeup on my own because a lot was happening
that. Yeah.
backstage. We were running out of time. We had rehearsals and there's, 125 girls and there's only so much makeup artists. So I just felt like, you know what? Let me actually just do my own hair and makeup and I guess I did well.
Wow. Now, with all what is going on, how have you also taken this as an responsibility to be a woman who's responsible for herself? And you're not blaming anybody. Sometimes we're fast to blame. Things happen when we look for who to point fingers at. Where are you with that identity in your life? When crisis comes, how do you embrace it? How do you say, I'm going to be responsible for this and my life? How do you take that on?
I think for me, in my situation, there was no need of blaming anybody because it's also a learning curve for each and every one of us. And if I start to put blames on people, then that means I'm going against my advocacy and I'm just moving backwards. So if I want to speak something into existence, I also need to act it. So I think for me, it's just like starting right by doing right first and then others will also come along with it.
Now, someone your age, don't you think this is a lot of responsibility emotionally for you? Don't you think you're growing too fast? Other girls your age are slaying on social media and they're carrying Hermes bags and doing things. But you are here, you are taking up something that seems like a responsibility that's a national responsibility. So is that some level of pressure? Do you think you're growing fast? Are you losing some of your childhood and not eating shawarma all the time? Tell me.
I'm still eating shawarma
I
all
know,
the
you
time.
had tons, you had two already today.
But I wouldn't necessarily say I'm growing too fast,
Okay.
but I would rather say I'm gaining a lot of wisdom for my
Okay.
age
Okay.
because it's not a lot of 23-year-olds that actually, have acquired the knowledge and experience that I have. So I think it's also to my advantage. And yeah, I'm really
Okay, with
excited.
all what's going down now, have you had time to relax?
No, I
Have you had time to watch
haven't.
movies? Have you had time to have fun?
I don't even remember the last time I watched a movie. Probably 3, 4 months ago.
Oh my goodness. So life has been so fast, you understand? So what are we also looking at post Miss Universe? Are there things now or you're just trying to take it a step at a time?
I am done with pageants for now. So I'm just gonna focus on my school
Okay.
and bettering my life because I am relocating to Nigeria. So I just need to, reestablish that as well.
Okay. Now that you're relocating, is there going to be a culture shock or you're already
There has been a culture shock
talk to me
already
about
from the
it?
moment I got here. It's like so different. I don't really want to compare it now, but it is really different. And I was struggling to adapt at first, but I think I'm getting the hang of it.
Fantastic. Now, Paget, there were lots of things you had to do. There was conversation, Q&A, things you and I used to talk about. There was the mental ability, there was catwalk, there was styling. Which would you say was the hardest you had to put in so much effort?
It was my catwalk
Yeah.
because I had a knee operation on my right leg, so I struggled to walk for like about a year.
What caused the operation?
I was playing netball. I was playing for the SA squad trials, and I tore my ACL, and I had to go for surgery. So that
Okay.
is what caused everything. And I really struggled a lot to walk properly because I also didn't finish my therapy session. So that made matters even worse. So for me to practice my walk, it was painful most times because whenever it's cold, my knee swells up. So I always had to make sure I wear longer tights so that it doesn't, yes, it was hard, but I think I did well.
Yes, you did. And I know, because I know you go on social media, and there you see comments and people talk about you. How did
I never felt bad about it. I'm one person that really accepts criticism. Like, if someone tells me, like, you're not doing good at something, like, why should I feel bad about it? I feel like that's just a way for me to find room for improvement.
Okay, now social media, how are you handling that space? Because there's so much jumping at you right now. How are you balancing? Because you know how people are. There are people who criticize, there are people who support, there are all kinds of information there is public space. How are you dealing with that?
I just block and bless. One of my judges from the essay competition, she always used to teach us that you need to block them and you need to bless them.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Now, I've asked you this question before, but not on camera. When Chidimma, Nigeria, was standing right next to Denmark, how did you feel at that point? Because I'm sure you never saw it coming. You just kept on seeing elimination after elimination and you kept emerging. At that point, Chidimma, right now, most regular, what were you thinking? How did you process the whole information?
It was a lot for me because I still didn't feel like I believed what was happening. Just making top 12 already was like, what? More win for me, and then top 5. I also wasn't prepared for that because I didn't mentally prepare for questions.
Yes.
And then the top 2 was even more bizarre because I was like, is this me? Yeah, so it was actually a very powerful moment.
Now, a lot of girls are also, they always ask me, you have to be 6 foot tall and all that. And I'm sure you saw a ton of other girls, even here in South Africa and Nigeria. Was there any point that you also looked at that as, hey, do I need to be taller? Is it how do you explain your identity in terms of height to girls who want to get into the modeling, pageant industry, or simply the beauty industry? Because they always say, should I be tall? So what do you have to say regarding that? Was there any time you had a challenge with that?
I was not afraid about any of that because, they have changed their rules. There was no restriction on anything. And I do feel like we are changing the beauty standards and stuff. So I don't think that's anything that anyone should worry about. We are all about inclusivity and accepting each person for who they are. So it doesn't matter if you're short or tall. I think that you should still be able to participate. I am 168. I'm not that tall at all. There were taller girls than me, and I made it. So that should encourage them as well.
Now, what's your definition of beauty? When people say beauty on its own as a word, there's a way people with small physical features, right? What's your definition of beauty first?
For me, I think it's who you are without all the glitz and the glams, accepting yourself. Because you always feel like when you put on makeup and you have your wig and your jewelry, that you are beautiful. But I feel like knowing that you are beautiful is when you wake up in the morning and you see yourself just the way you are and you actually love yourself for who you are. That's where beauty starts. And obviously, the kind of personality that you project on the outside.
Yeah. Now let's get a personal. Chidimma, there's no way on earth. There is no way on earth. What you are now, how you look, and when you go into the guys in your face. How do you have that look? You're smiling, you can't smile with confidence. Because it would have happened all the way and there's no getting tense. And now you have social media where they have access to you. Chidimma, how are you dealing with it? Just tell me you're walking because you're human. You'd see, so tell me, how are you dealing with all that?
I mean, I just ignore everything.
Come on, everybody. So there's
Yeah,
no interest
I
at
feel
all.
like before you get a response, it's like really hard. A lot of people can attest to that. I don't
Okay.
really respond.
Okay.
Well, maybe on TikTok comments. No comments because
Okay.
I'm always on TikTok. I love TikTok. I
Yes.
dance, listen to the songs and everything. So I see all the comments on TikTok. And that's one social media that I'm always on.
Okay.
But apart from that, no.
Okay. So if a guy wants to know Chidimma's personality, something that will make her interested, what should they be looking out for in your photos? Just in case.
Just in case
Just in case.
I'm not
Let's just say, so they have an idea of your personality if they're interested. What should they look out for? What's something that gets you? You chocolate, you movies, or you just poetry? What's Chidimma?
what if I'm not interested?
Absolutely everybody.
Yes.
Chidimma, you can't be that hard. It's impossible.
I am that hard.
So is Chidimma an introvert or an extrovert?
Introvert.
You're an introvert. Okay. So when you're home on your own, what are you doing?
Literally chilling
Okay.
and watching TikTok videos, eating, TikTok,
Okay.
sleep, TikTok, wake up, TikTok, sports. Yes.
So what's your definition of an ideal man?
Someone that's very respectful,
Okay.
someone that's understanding and listens and actually does things. We all have different love language, but I feel like if you really love someone, you'll sort of like adapt to the way that they want to feel loved and not just how you love someone. I think that's really important because most times we often think that we're showing people love, but just because that's the way you love someone does not necessarily mean the next person takes it that way.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.